All right, fellas, we are live. Hey, good to see everyone for Chop It Up. Welcome to, let me turn this down on my other phone. All right, welcome to Chop It Up. It has been a little bit since we've had the band back together, but the band is back together. And in the words of that poet and philosopher Mystical, if you see me in the forest fighting with a grizzly bear, help the bear. All right.
Did you watch that episode?
I haven't watched that yet. Yeah. But
he messed, bro.
This is Chop It Up. Again, I make this disclaimer as everybody's kind of sharing it on their social media and whatnot. We are doing this completely off the top, off the dome. There is no pre-scripting to this. These are the authentic thoughts of each and every guy that is here. We have a topic, and we just kind of go for it, and whatever comes out is what comes out. But we do these now on Tuesdays as opposed to Saturdays. This worked out really good, so you'll be catching us every Tuesday here on Chop It Up. So I'm Kevin here in Phoenix, where we are cooled down to about 111 degrees. Yay. All right, and we're avoiding the Rona every day, but I'm going to let the guys introduce themselves as well.
Who's going to go first?
Who's going to jump in?
Time to go first.
I got it. This is Darian Lewis, officially from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Glad to be here. Have no idea what we're going to talk about, but this is always interesting. Here we go.
Tari Watkins from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Not as hot as where Kev is, but, hey, doing well, doing good. I was going to say something. Got my garage door fixed. I'm a happy camper. That's when you're old and you're up in it, because a garage door being fixed makes you happy. Boy, I'm happy in the pig and slop right now.
Sir. Yes, sir. Life is good.
I saw your Facebook plea for a reliable and honest garage door repairman.
They came through.
And I'm trying to figure out who's relying, who's referring the non-reliable, non-honest guy though. Like, yo, my guy, he gonna jip you. Ooh, is that a bad word?
It's not as politically correct, but we'll take it.
Derek Sire here from Oklahoma City. Shout out to all the church mothers who wore them white gloves that made all the kids spit their bubble gum in it.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to them.
All right, so we have, again, this conversation, all our conversations are really the same conversations we have in barbershops across the country. Well, I'd said that really country. I said country. All right.
Country.
That was my, 14 years of living in Tulsa coming out. Country.
Oh.
Listen, we don't say that in Chicago.
I bet y'all do.
We don't say it in Tulsa either.
Some of y'all do. Come on, baby, all right?
Listen, you get down around Okmulgee and Muskogee, yeah, you talking country.
Not Tulsa. That's how you know people not from Tulsa.
Thank you.
You ask people where they from, and they say Tulsa, you be like, where in Tulsa? They're gonna be like, Bartlesville, Claremore, Twin Springs.
We trying to give y'all credit.
You ain't from Tulsa.
We trying to give it credit. We trying to make y'all look bigger than y'all there.
Oklahoma City. People in Oklahoma City do the same thing. You're like, oh, where you from? You're like, Dale City, Midwest City, Edmond, Deer Creek.
It all run together.
At least we still root for the football teams we used to root for instead of changing the one of the state we live in. I'm just saying.
The criminals? You talking about the Oklahoma Sooners? The criminals? The criminals?
Like off the bat. Like, here we go. Just
wait for it.
Oklahoma, where the cops come sweeping down the plains.
Oh, Chicago, where they drive by and shoot when you're old.
Listen, but it teaches the skills of survival. If you can survive Chicago,
we can laugh about
you can survive anywhere.
Listen.
You live in Chicago, you can live anywhere.
Listen.
You live in Chicago.
I tell folks, look, I told folks this. I said, growing up in Chicago, there's not a whole lot that scares me. Right. The thing about Tulsa that scared me is because some of their criminals was just crazy for no reason. There was no rhyme or reason to it.
You gotta
That scares me. At least in Chicago, there's a code. For the most part, there's a code. Now, they still get a little crazy now, but Tulsa was doing crazy stuff for no reason.
Yeah, we gotta move on. I can't keep letting you talk about my town like this.
Listen, I'm grateful for Tulsa. Tulsa was good for me for a season, but God has delivered me. Amen. All right, so I'm free.
On the way out.
I guess I'm going back around the mountain.
Listen.
Oh my God.
All right, but we want to talk about sports. Sports are back. Sports are back on TV. They are there. However, there's a lot going on with sports right now.
Woo! It is.
You got Major League Baseball in danger of shutting down because they haven't figured out how to not touch each other's hands and sneeze on each other. Right? Then you got football where half the players are starting to opt out. And then you got basketball where Anthony Davis has proven himself to be the MVP, at least of the Lakers. So, yeah, that was a little shade. I'm starting off a little early. Listen.
Early.
It's one of those days. I'm in that mood today, guys.
Wait. He's MVP for 3 quarters, not 4.
All I gotta say is the Lakers were what? Number 4 last year. He comes, they're what? Number? Just saying.
You just can't throw that out there without talking about what happened last year with the Lakers. You're just gonna throw. Come on, man. Seriously?
Yep, I'm gonna do that.
You're just gonna throw. Wow. Okay.
Yep, I can do that.
That's so bad.
Here we go.
That's so bad on so many levels, man.
And here we go.
Man.
As Tari was saying, I don't even have the crayons at the time for that.
Boy,
What did that shirt say? I don't have time for the crayons.
I wanted that shirt so bad. I got time with crayons to be able to explain this to you.
And Anthony Davis is good. I'm not taking that away from him.
He's good.
But for the last 14 years, one man has consistently. So what?
He's been in the league for 17 years, right?
Well, I can't give him his first year. I can't give him. I can't give the last year because he didn't play the whole season.
I got you. Okay.
And then he kind of choked in the finals a little bit, So I'm giving him 14.
Wait, he choked?
I'm saying he choked. I'm saying he did not perform at optimal level.
Not the first time, but yes, you're right.
Well, I'm saying the times that he could have, that he didn't. That's all I'm saying. Every other time, he's been carrying the team statistically. He's been coaching. He's been playing general manager. He's been selling concession stand snacks.
Opening up schools.
Come on now. He's been doing everything.
I give him credit for the schools.
He just play basketball like Jordan. That's all he did. He didn't have no other life. Horrible husband, horrible father, gambler, alcoholic, smoker. Come on, man. He had basketball. That's all he did.
And with all that, he's still the GOAT.
Listen, he's a horrible human being, though.
Good night.
I wouldn't hate on Jordan if he was on fire. That's too bad. I'm sorry. That's personal. Let me take that back. I would totally be on Jordan.
It's the internet coming back.
Toes, bro.
I would totally be on Jordan. Let me just say, if he was on fire, I'd pee on him. I would have.
With a smile? With a smile, right?
No, it'd be like one of those grins.
Like one of those Calvin and Hobbes grins.
Yes.
Oh
my goodness.
Okay, we got to get back on track. I'm sorry.
You pull out a scripture or something. Somebody pass a plate, something. We need some church somewhere.
Too late.
I didn't want to. He made me, in fact. I didn't even want to go there. He tried to hit me with the jab, with the Anthony Davis comments. He didn't let that pass.
But he knew what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing.
Hey, don't let him suck you in, man. Don't do that.
Look, Mama, but he said to his dad, Mama, but he said, and you know I don't let nobody talk about you, Mama. And then I gotta listen to Mama be like, boy, don't nobody know me.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
He roped me in. He brought me in. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm not letting it happen again, at least for the next 5 minutes.
Listen, I was about to say, don't underestimate Mr. Crawley over there. He is very, what's the word I want to use? Subtly and humbly diabolical at times.
Diabolical. Come on,
He can get you.
or as Derek said the other week, calculating.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
More accurate. More
Yes.
accurate. Yes.
It's deadly right there. That's
Fisher of men. He should be reeling us in. The fisher of men is what the Bible calls.
you a cat.
Reel them on in.
He that winneth souls is wise. Yes.
Michael Jordan's the greatest. That's what he's out there doing. LeBron James sucks. Like Anthony Davis MVP. Papa sucks. I don't eat greens because it's soul food.
Listen.
Y'all know we ain't gonna have nobody watching this, right?
You got some?
What they talking about?
We got a couple. I see some.
There's some folks in there.
Oh, funny.
Listen.
All right, let's go. What we got?
So let's just kind of dig in. I'll leave Jester James alone, and we'll. I said I'm gonna leave him alone.
I was trying to move on.
I said I'm gonna leave him alone. Listen, I'm leaving him alone. I'm gonna leave the Jester alone. All right, let's talk about baseball, right? All right, because the Marlins, I think, just got cleared to play again, right? Just got cleared. Yeah. So the thing with baseball, should baseball have figured out a bubble system or something? Because this whole traveling across the country or even in their regions, I don't know that that's working. And I'm a little afraid for the rest of the season. I'm not a huge baseball fan. I'll watch it if the Cubbies are kind of doing good, but let's just talk about that for a moment.
Well, the thing that makes it hard for MLB, man, is because the NBA could rule out teams. Not all the teams are in the bubble.
Yeah.
So they could. How many teams are there? 22?
Yeah.
Not even that many, right?
Not even that many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there's only a hand, I think 20 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many teams there anyway.
Yeah.
So, and the way basketball is, you don't need a field. You need a court. And the fact that NBA has started at this end of the season, or restarted at the end of the season, and can eliminate teams, baseball can't do that because they're starting the season. So you got to have all the teams there. You can't go to with the Toronto. They can't play in Toronto. They got to play in the U.S. because Canada won't let them come across the border. So now, where are you going to put it to where you can play in a region or in a bubble? All these teams play at one time. You can't. There is no place for that to happen unless you just do 4 areas of the country in these places. But you're still going to have travel. You're still going to have people going out. Just like Homeboy. What's his name from the Clippers?
Lou Williams.
Strip club chicken wing dude.
Lou Williams.
Yes. Saying, I'm going to get some chicken wings because my mama died. You go to the strip club and want your mama.
Right.
And so that stuff happens. And with that many teams, you can't control that. I don't know if they're going to keep going or not, but if it keeps going the way it is now, because it only takes one more team to have an outbreak like that, and they got to shut it down.
Yeah.
So it's easier for the NBA to do it because you can seclude because you only have that one small court. You have minimal teams, and I think baseball rushed it. I think they came out too soon. Their plan wasn't as solid as what it was for the NBA. And actually, hockey's even started up. I don't know if you realize that.
Yeah.
They're playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I just don't see it continuing. You got a whole other team that does that again because it's just you can't make these games up. They're only playing 60. So what? The team that says they can't play, they're out the playoff run.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do that. But other than that, I don't know, man. This is
I think that as far as the actual sport is concerned, you'd think that the NBA would have more cases than Major League Baseball, just from the space and the contact.
Yeah.
And the playing field, court being smaller. You think that if it's being transmitted from team to team, that it would be more transmittable between basketball players. But I don't think it's happening on the court. I don't think it's happening on the court. I think it's happening in the locker rooms, especially for baseball.
Yeah.
It's contact between players, right? It's at the base, so you have this big diamond,
right?
And contact in any is happening on the base. I saw a couple of things that concern me with baseball players, and baseball players are doing a lot of licking, a lot of spitting, a lot of on the balls, and so I saw one player going from like hand to hat to ball.
Mm-hmm.
So those balls being caught and thrown, and I see them trying to rotate the balls and sanitize the balls and bring it back. And I see players that are licking their bats just out of habit and spit on their gloves, and so a lot of that's happening. That I don't believe is happening in the NBA, but in the NBA you actually have bodies touching and sweat being exchanged and bringing. So I don't really know if it's happening in the field player on the court. I do think the locker room, I think the benches have a lot to do with it. I just don't know, man. In order to do that, I don't know that you can have competition, safe competition, and safe camaraderie against each other and then within the team. I just don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason it's being done in the NBA is because they are literally in a bubble. They can't go anywhere. They're tested every day. I think the reporters are being tested once every 2 days. Mm-hmm. And it's not affiliated with a team. And if you leave that bubble, you've got a quarantine. Baseball, there is nothing like that. So they're going out to their families. They're just going everywhere. So it's going to be harder to, one, spread it inside the bubble because they're not going anywhere. And if you do go out, you got to quarantine for 10 days. Mm-hmm. They're testing so often that you're going to be able to stop anybody from transferring it widely.
Right.
Baseball can't do that. Football can't do that now. Neither can hockey because there is no bubble for them to be in. I just think without there being some type of protected environment, it's going to spread. And it's not. I don't think it's necessarily on the field. I just think you don't have that protected environment, that bubble, that surrounding to be able to contain. NBA is the only one to do it because they've been able to, one, do it because of the teams and because of the way the sport is played. There are many venues, there's many courts. I mean, they got 7 practice courts and 3 venue courts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So you can do that with basketball. You can't do that with the other sports.
And I have to disagree.
Yeah.
I really think, and not a hard disagreement, but I don't think the problem with any of these other sports is what's going on the field, how they play, the sport itself. None of that. I think the problem is that the decision makers didn't slow down long enough to really think about how do we create an environment where this remains a checks and balances coming in and out. How do we, at the end of the day, the NBA put in stringent rules. It's like they thought about this long before they thought about who's actually going to be playing. Mm-hmm. Like, how do we make sure that whatever season we come up with, and whatever scenario we come up with, that it makes it from day one to the championship.
Right.
These other sports, they just wanted to reopen. They just wanted to get back on TV. They just wanted to get their guys back out there so they could get this revenue going. And the reason why you know this is because they didn't think beyond the game. it's like, okay, this is the stuff we're going to do for the game. All right, but what are you going to do to protect the players? What are you going to do to protect the coaches? What are you going to do to make sure that your season from start to finish is completed? And they just, to me, they just didn't slow down long enough to take that approach.
Well,
You know.
I think with baseball, though, I don't know if you guys know this, but Phoenix is essentially the capital of spring training, if you will. So the majority of teams play here March, beginning of April.
Right.
So if I remember correctly, the thought was to create kind of a bubble here, since they've already got fields all over the city. I mean, Scottsdale, even down to Tucson, I think there's some fields. So they could have eliminated a lot of the travel. But if I remember correctly, I think a lot of the players balked at it because it would take them away from their families. They didn't want to be separated from families.
Right.
So that creates then the scenario that they could have, in many respects, cut down on a lot of this, because the issue is, like you to both of your points, is that they could have easily made it so that there's this protective bubble. You don't go home. You're at work, yes, for a little bit longer, and you don't see your family, FaceTime, what have you. But at the end of the day, you're here to do your job, and you can play and be safe. And because of that, because they chose not to do that, now they're opened up to this whole scenario where you have entire teams catching it, and now the commissioner is telling the Players Association, look, if we got another outbreak, we're shutting it down. Because the other thing is, you have to think about not just this season, but for many of these players, this is their livelihood. Well, all the players, this is their livelihood. And now if I catch it and now I'm impacted negatively going forward, I can play maybe a couple of games, but next season I can't play because my lungs are messed up or what have you. So I think
Not to mention,
go ahead. I think there's that whole thing.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, not to mention the fact that with them leaving it open, now you are also taking a huge risk of exposing the families that you didn't want to lose in the first place.
Right.
So you may have the immune system of a 15-year-old strong enough to resist it, but now you're the carrier to your 5-year-old, or you're the carrier to your wife. And it's like, dude, you just or your mother, your father, or whoever for that matter, or the barista, because you had to have Starbucks.
Right.
I mean, just whoever, that to me was at the end of the day. If that's the case, if they balked at it, if that was the issue, like, we're not going to go for that, we'd rather not play at all, then to me that was a very selfish move. It was an extremely selfish move for an abbreviated season. This is how you get paid.
Yeah.
If you don't have a fan, if you don't have a fan base, there's no reason for you to get out on the field. No one's paying you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can play fine. But at the end of the day, if they keep losing players and they keep losing games and they wind up shutting down the whole season, let's not even go with the health impact. Let's just talk about the financial impact. Let's talk about the impact of the fan base on the league. They can't afford. They just can't afford to be that reckless, to be that selfish. So they got to figure out something. They got to figure out something quick.
So this poses a question for me. Adam, as a commissioner, I mean David Stern also, but as a commissioner with Adam Silver, there are some things that we've seen him do and operate since he's taken over that makes me believe that he and whoever he has in place knows exactly what they're doing. They have their finger on the pulse. It's more than just them, and they think about their players. We don't see that from MLB. We really, I don't know much about hockey to be able to know, but I don't think they do that in hockey. And we definitely don't see that from the owners in the NFL and from the commissioner. And so my question is, how stubborn do you have to be as an organization like the NFL and the MLB not to be able to look at this model and realize, you know what? Maybe we need to adopt some of these. Because I can tell you right now, I don't know, maybe it's because sports has been away for so long, I haven't watched this many NBA games in a season within a week in my life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm an NBA fan, but first and foremost, it's NFL football for me, college basketball, college football, Then we got baseball. Baseball's last. Then we got NBA basketball, and so I mean, it falls down the line for me because I'm a Thunder fan, but I'm more of a player fan because in North Carolina we didn't grow up and have anything. But seeing this, and for me, again, I don't know if it's because of the excitement that sports is back, but just the way it is to be able to see it, where they're interacting, the social issues that they're allowing them to do and express themselves, and to let them, the players are actually having a voice. I think that's what's important to me, and I love seeing it. I love seeing the expression, but we don't see that from the other leagues.
Yeah.
And my question is, why do we not see that? This may not even be one of the topics, but that's what it makes me think of. I mean, the NBA does a great job at pulling in the fans and pulling in the players and making them feel like they're a part of the process. We don't see that from other leagues, and I think that's a problem. And you, as Darian said, you will lose a fan base quickly. People want to say, I mean, baseball, I get it, it's America's quote-unquote sport, but it's falling by the wayside. I mean, it's down there with hockey in my mind right now. So, I don't know. I can keep talking. But.
Well, one of the things that, you know, you got to keep in mind, all of them have training camps. Mm-hmm. Every sport has a training camp.
They do.
Every training camp is closed. So, to me, there is no excuse. You know what I'm saying? There is no excuse. You have a model. Now, I will say this: the NBA was already doing something that the other sports weren't doing, and that when it comes to playoffs and championships, that they would actually to shut down. If you remember, all of the paternal lawsuits that were coming out in the late '90s, early 2000s, like everybody was having a kid, you know, and all
Sean
that
Kemp.
stuff. Well, to name one.
No, 9, 10 of him.
Yeah, but
know of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But to mitigate that, the NBA stepped in and said, okay, your team must have a boutique hotel that they rent out the entire hotel. They've got security in front. If you do not have a pass, you do not get in. Period. No one else is renting this while we're here. When the championship series came to Oklahoma City was in it. That's how I found out that they were doing that. That's when they started that stuff. So the framework of this mindset for the NBA was already in place. This is the way that they already thought. Well, I don't care what team you've got. There's enough money to do that for everybody for an abbreviated season.
Yeah.
That's
they
true.
just have chose not to.
Right. And that leads to my question. I mean, is it arrogance, or I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't try to follow a model that's working, that's going to help your sport to be able to do what they do. Maybe I'm putting too much logic to it. I don't know.
I do want to jump in right there, and this is kind of going around the corner to get next door. But shout out to the book Mindset. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. Mindset. Basically, two premises. You either have a fixed mindset or you have a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says we have to look like we know what we're doing, whether we do or don't. We have to look like we know how to be successful, whether we are or we're not. Growth mindset is, okay, I don't know what to do. Let me bring in some other minds. Let me bring in somebody that doesn't think like me. Let me grab some guys that are in a completely different industry and just throw this question at them. Hey, what would you do with this scenario? And see what comes back at me. See what creativity comes back at me. I believe the NBA decided to do that on some level. These other sports have decided to try and look like they had it together, and they don't.
They don't.
Yeah. Derek, you're about to say something.
Yeah, man. I was just trying to think, like, what are some things that I've taken some calculated risk, right? And I'm thinking about my movement in my city as it pertains to hanging out with people and going to the grocery store and eating out and being in parks and mentoring and like these things. And I think that when I choose who I hang out with and where I go. There is, anytime I step outside of my home, is a calculated risk. And I think that somewhere along the line, we have, uh, as a country, overall, have miscalculated the risk. And I think there are, I think about a meme that I saw on social media that said, I feel like the kid who is getting his recess taken away because there's another kid in the class that's talking. You know, we've all been a part of that, and it's like, dude, just shut up, right? So we can go outside and play.
Just put a mask on.
I feel like there's that one kid that's like, what you gonna do, take away our whole recess? You know, like, man, whatever. And it's like, yes, it's exactly what she's gonna do. Because she did it last week. You know?
Right.
I think there's some people, of course there are some people that are on both ends. Some people that are saying, you know, this virus is fake. And then there's other people that's like, not leaving the house, you know, and they're sterilizing their mail and all their deliveries and their groceries and washing their hands, and then you have some people in the middle that I think are taking calculated risks. I think that some people count the cost more than others.
Yeah.
But I think on some level, anytime we choose to leave our home, we're taking a calculated risk. I think the NBA, man, they seem to be leading the charge on this. I think there are several things that could probably contribute to their lower numbers. I think foresight is one. I think when you think about basketball teams, and this is a slightly uneducated guess, I'm thinking basketball teams are smaller teams as it pertains to football and hockey and baseball. And so I think it's, when you're talking about putting 22 times 10 or 22 times 12 in a bubble, I think that's easier when you're talking about, you know, this many football teams with 60-man rosters, or this many baseball teams, which you have AA, single A, triple A, major league, you know, times 20 rosters. You know, I think that people, my heart wants to believe that people are counting the cost. I just think that some have, they're doing a little bit more calculating than others. So that's the grace that I extend to the NBA and to the MLB. I hope that nobody's acting maliciously from a selfish perspective. I really hope that they're doing everything that they can do as organizations and as individuals, from the catcher and the pitcher to the owner and the general manager, from the power forward to, you know, I just hope everybody is taking it as serious as the number of deaths that we've had in the United States, which is leading the world.
Yeah, I think one thing, just to go back to Tori, your question about the owners, and you know, the makeup of even the teams and how those operate. I think there's a difference in the ownership style of NBA versus NFL, for example. I think that just let's take Dallas for example. You have Mark Cuban, who is of a different operating system, different character, what have you, than Jerry Jones, right? So I think that the reason, because you were saying why is it that the NBA seems to be paying more attention to their players, I think there's a couple of factors in that. I think that one, I think that just the whole culture of the NBA has really moved to a player-focused organization. That it is, look, these guys are out here busting their butt every day to put on a good product and good show, if you will. So yeah, let's take care of them. Whereas the NFL is like, look, we'll use you for 2 to 3 years, and then if you can't walk,
right,
it was good knowing you. Anyway. There's another kid that'll take your place, right?
Plug and play.
You know, and then baseball, I think even for me, baseball is so old school in some respects, because for example, in Chicago, and I know it's probably changed, but the Wrigley company that makes double mint gum is who owned the Cubs for a long time. So you're talking about old school money, old school mentality. I don't know that I really look at I can't even name you really another owner in baseball, because they're so far removed, and that might be because I don't pay as much attention to baseball. But I at least know some owners in football. I know some owners in basketball. But baseball is a completely different animal. So I think that has a lot to do also with this kind of rush to get back into it, this approach that we're going to put on the product, and if you're going to play, you're going to play. If you're not, too bad. Versus the NBA, which is saying, let's secure you guys. Let's provide the best opportunity and best position for you guys to go and do what you do and finish out the season while we protect you so that you can finish it out.
Right. Jump on that as well. You talked about ownership style difference, or even organizationally. And you're right. Baseball, you don't have a lot of movement. Matter of fact, buying a baseball team is probably the hardest sports franchise purchase of all of them that we have in the United States. Breaking into that group is extremely difficult. Ownership just does not change hands. They don't splinter and fragment like they do in other sports. They just don't make it as available.
Yeah.
The NBA, however, hey, you got the money.
We'll open up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, so that to me automatically breeds a more fluid mentality, a more flexible thought process when it comes to. The other thing is the front office in the NBA particularly is constantly changing.
Yeah,
it's constantly changing. They're always bringing in fresh meat. Always, to all of those positions. And so you've got this constant influx of creativity, this constant influx of fresh thinking, whereas the NFL front office doesn't change as much, and MLB definitely is probably the slowest of them all. Hockey, I would put it probably even with football. It's just not. By that I mean the
I was right there. My bad. I'm sorry.
Why do you talk about hockey on here? Why keep bringing hockey up?
Hey, all things to all men, by all means, will win some.
There's your Bible too. All right, there we go. That's the scripture we needed. Amen. We're back on track.
What we got?
Derek got this look like he about to shut this phone down.
Hockey? We keep throwing hockey a bone, man. We keep throwing hockey a bone. I would much rather talk about golf.
It's what it started up. I mean,
what? Okay, so when I was in Dallas, because hockey wasn't my thing either. Hockey really still isn't my thing. But once I got down to Dallas, and I realized the stars have street cred like the Cowboys, like for real.
Yes.
So that's what made me kind of slow down. Like, okay, they pack out every game.
They do.
Whether they win or lose, them folks are faithful to the Stars. So I get it. When it comes to our planet, yeah, hockey ain't really all that much. But hockey's got some. It's got some love. We can't just throw it away.
I lived in Raleigh, and Ashley had won some tickets to the Carolina Hurricanes game. I'm like, Carolina Hurricanes? Why would I go to that? So it was 2 tickets. So my dad and I went. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Once I got my butt in the seat and I watched it, and since we're in North Carolina, since we know nothing about hockey, we know basketball and a little bit about football. That's all we knew. And so up on the Jumbotron, they would say, well, this is offsides, or this is hooking. And so you actually got taught the game because they knew they were in North Kakalaki, where we didn't know hockey. And so I got that first game, man, and somebody got checked up against the glass right in front of me. Oh, I was shook. I was like, okay, this is real. And then after that, I'm like, you know what? I think I can watch this. I bought mini season passes for 3 years. I went to games, and it was fast paced. Had a couple fights thrown in there every now and then, and the excitement, the anticipation of when a goal happens, and literally everybody went, oh! I mean, it's loud. You can't hear anything. It's not for me,
right?
But literally took me going to a game to experience it to realize, okay, you know what? This is legit.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get me on a pair of skates. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. I've been there. Last time I did it, Kevin, the last time I went, it was a young Mary's class in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I spent for about 30 yards on my stomach because I fell. I was done. I haven't put a skate on since then. I mean, I got a lot of momentum. I got a lot of potential energy. So when I get up to speed, it's going to be I'm not going to stop anytime soon. So, but to see them cats on the skates, man, and check in front of where offsides is, a power play, hearing everybody roaring, I'm like, you know what? This is all right. So hockey has its place. Not here in Oklahoma, but hockey has its place. So I can't leave it out of the conversation because it's legit.
Yeah.
I can't go out there and play it. I mean, there's guys that are skilled in it. And may not be many of us in there, but we got to give them some kind of credit.
Yeah, I mean, because
listen, that's fine. I'm the type of guy who just loves competition on any level. Like I found myself watching a cornhole tournament the other day on ESPN.
Oh wow!
Yeah, real. Oh, hey.
Yeah. I've watched table tennis, field hockey, lacrosse, like swimming. You know, the Olympics come around. You watching everything.
Did you watch the marble races on ESPN The Ocho?
No. Oh, I did. Downhill the marble. Yes, I did. I did. I was like, oh, the red one got him. Oh, snap.
I was not coming for the lead.
That's when you are desperate for sports.
Okay.
You are desperate for sports, boy. I sound like I just need one cigarette, man. Just one.
That's it.
Listen, I saw a video of somebody was doing a play-by-play of like the droplets of water, the condensation on a bottle. They were doing a play-by-play of it going down on the.
No.
That's when you knew we were desperate for some sports. We needed something to challenge us as far as competition.
Somebody to win, somebody to lose. That's all we need.
That's all we need.
Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, in Chicago, hockey is the third. It's down there. But Blackhawks, look, the Blackhawks have, like you said, Darian, they have street cred. Everybody loves the Blackhawks. If they're in the playoffs, we supporting, we riding. Here in Phoenix, they ride with the Coyotes, whatever they are called here. So I
scream just as loud when the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup like I did when Carolina Tar Heels won the championship.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. I was in here the first year in Oklahoma. I'm like, okay, great. I move and they finally win. But I'm in my living room screaming at hockey because it's competition, man. I mean, they say winning the Stanley Cup is probably one of the harder ones to do, even outside the Super Bowl. It's hard. So, yeah.
Tori, you keep mentioning, though, you don't root for the Duke Blue Devils? Is that what I'm missing here?
Oh,
ooh.
Wait a minute.
Oh, here we go.
Hold up.
Hey, I almost cussed. I'm just
somebody else.
Boy, you know better than that. Hey.
Oh, I know. Trust me. Trust me.
Hey, man.
We cast out devils. We don't root for them.
He got you, Tony. He got you.
Ashley was like 6 years old. We were on Walmart. We had to go get some school supplies, some pencils. So we're in the aisle, and Ashley's in the basket, and we're looking at some stuff. Dad, I'm a Carolina fan and a Duke fan. What? What did you say to me? Dad, I'm a Carolina fan and a Duke fan. I said, baby, you can't do that. Why not? I said, okay, Ashley. I said, it's like loving God and loving the devil. You can't do that. Since you remember, I said, you got to pick one. And I'm sitting there going, I'm like, so, okay, I'm a Tar Heel fan. Yes!
Right answer. Good answer.
And I told my dad that because my dad is a Duke Blue Devil fan. So imagine what it was growing up in that household. He paid the mortgage and the rent, so I couldn't be like, moving to cheering. You know, if they beat Duke, I couldn't say nothing. I was like, that's about it. But keep playing, Dad. Keep playing.
No, I'm with you. I can't stand the Blue Devils. I'm not a Duke fan at all. I will listen. The only team it could be my favorite team is anybody that's playing them and beating them. I'm sorry. I think you even saw. I went to a. What did I go to? I went to the NBA or NCAA dunk contest that they had here one time, and I was like, "Am I wrong even for rooting against the Duke Blue Devil player, even in the dunk contest that don't mean anything?"
You don't like JJ Redick.
Listen, we can go back. Grant Hill, Johnny Dawkins, Christian Laettner. Listen, there is a long history. I'm not supposed to hate anybody, but there's a strong line and currency of dislike and unfavorable attitudes towards Duke.
I'm Hurley.
What?
Saying,
Why?
what is why? Hey, okay, let me just put to you this thing. We know in football that Ohio State and Michigan is the game, right? We get that. You down here in this country, it's Oklahoma, Texas. But when ESPN Sports Center dedicates the first 10 minutes to Duke, Carolina, come on, man. This is when the country is divided. We're not talking about regions. The country is divided at this point. Stuart Scott from ESPN, come on, man, cool on the other side of the pillow. He talked about it all the time. I'm telling you. That's why. It is a pure... We're only 20 miles apart, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Dirt and Chapel Hill.
Right.
50 miles apart. Tobacco Road. That's why I call my fantasy football team Tobacco Road Hitmen. Because, hey, we take each other out. That's just what we do when it comes to Duke, Carolina. There is no love lost. Look at Tyler Hansbrough. Got his nose broken by what, McGahee? And he still got to be played? Hey, man. Whew, I'm getting riled up right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, see what you did.
Hey.
Yeah, see what you did.
This one split families, Darian. I'm telling you. Duke, you can't do both. You can't. It's impossible. No. That's where, you know what? Go to Durham, Chapel Hill, and ask somebody. You'll find out.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
You did that to get me riled up, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, I'm good.
Get home, Duke cycling T-shirt. I said, send that to your papa. I said, if you don't send it to him, I'm burning it. I was gonna light that joint on fire and have a prayer service right then and there. I don't play it. I don't play it.
Boy, okay.
And God,
Listen.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like I just watched a married couple argue.
hey, Kev, that's like you root for the Packers, man. It ain't gonna happen.
It doesn't happen.
It can't happen.
It's illegal.
It
It's illegal.
goes against every fiber in my body. It can't happen.
You know, in Chicago, they teach you that there's really only 48 states. Because we eliminate Wisconsin and Michigan. No Green Bay, no Detroit. The world is a better place.
2 states are out of the union, man.
Yeah. Sports deep, man. Sports are the nerve, bro.
Listen.
They say back at home, you may talk about my mama, but you ain't gonna talk about my Tom Hills. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, time out now. I ain't going that far.
Well, in Oklahoma, I remember in Oklahoma when I was there, I had one interview. All right, last question. OU or OSU?
Hey, and guess what? That's a real question.
It is a real question. But
It is a real question.
I don't care.
It is a real question. I've had that in a couple interviews.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. They don't play. So yeah, OU or OSU. Now, since we're there for a second, I got a little conundrum. Let me. I got a little bit of an issue.
Okay, what's up?
So just recently, I met my sister for the first time this January, right? So we knew that each other existed. We just never met. All right. So I'm an OU fan. Been an OU fan all my life.
Okay.
All right. My nephew, her son, just got a scholarship to play football for OSU. She graduated from OSU. Matter of fact, 3 of her kids graduated from OSU. All right. So it's an OSU family. I'm like, now what?
Hey, you gotta pull for blood, bro.
Hey, as long as they're not playing OU, I'm down. I'm there.
Thing, because he ain't gonna be there the whole time. So in 3-4 years, you can, and after that, you cut ties. But you gotta, I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
Even when OU OSU play, you root for him to do well. but you want OU to win.
I'm already there. I'm just trying not to alienate my new family. That's all.
Get your yards, but I hope y'all lose.
We'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. Oh snap! We done started something on my
Uh-oh.
I got shout out to Joe Wilson. He said Boomer Sooner all day.
Hey.
I got another buddy. Shout out to John. He's talking about go Pokes. Here we go.
See,
Yeah, sports runs deep. Runs deep.
Hey, as long as you don't grow up no T like your boy Gundy, you're all right. And sporting an OAN shirt, you good.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking.
Listen, and that
Come on, man.
that's the other thing, to even just talk about now. The whole for NCAA, I believe it's about to undergo a seismic shift in some things.
Well, you heard about what happened with the Pac-12, didn't you?
Yeah, they are like, look, fix this or we're not playing.
Yeah, that letter that all sports in Pac-12, they're like, we ain't playing until you meet these demands.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they serious.
Yeah.
And so, hey, revolution started over there in the Pac-12. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be interesting.
This season, ain't they?
So what now?
So they get paid this season, ain't they?
Who?
The players.
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Is
You
it?
mean for like the likeness in their name? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's already been. Well, I don't think that's in place yet.
I thought it starts this season.
I thought so too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
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 That's interesting.
Is it this season?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. So
That's a start.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have a problem with that. That's just me personally. I get the whole argument of, well, they get a scholarship. I get that. I get that 100%. But when you got coaches, when you got the school's making billions of dollars, and you see your name on a jersey up inside of a schoolhouse or inside of we'll take Chapel Hill, down there on Franklin Street in one of them shops, and you got your name on the back of a jersey, and you don't get revenue from that whatsoever, why not?
Yeah.
We kids go to MIT, they major in engineering, you got all these people that can be interns, and they can make money at a job before they graduate because that's their specialty. Yeah. So the NCAA is so antiquated, so stuck in their ways that they can't let people earn money in what their specialty is, but you can let your other students that, guess what, also have scholarships, they can earn money in their specialty, but you say that they can't. It's backwards.
It went further than that because there were some players who had YouTube channels and were, getting revenue from YouTube, and they were told you got to shut that down, or else you'll lose your eligibility. And it's like, well, I was doing this before I became a college athlete, so this isn't even tied to the fact that I'm playing.
Right, and then you got ones that want to be like mentors or counselors at a football or a baseball camp or a basketball camp. They couldn't do that because it was it's stupid. It's dumb.
Yeah.
So there has to be a change.
Yeah.
There has to be. We're talking old rules that have been put that are, 60, 70, 80 years ago?
Ooh, longer than that.
And that predated the monetization that we're seeing now.
Right.
Exactly.
It predated the millions and billions that are being exchanged with these teams now. So the model has to change as well for these guys.
Yeah. When you can't sell stuff that you have earned or that was given to you, and it's yours. So like when Jordan gave the shoes to the Carolina football players, and they turned around and sold it, they got suspended. It's their shoes. That's their property that was. So you mean to tell me that they can't sell something that belongs to them? Mm-hmm. It's theirs. Nobody else can take it from them.
Right.
And they can't sell it.
Yeah.
There's another soapbox. I'm sorry. Hey. My students used to ask me, Mr. Watkins, you're probably the guy that said all the players should stay for 4 years and get a degree. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. If you were my son and somebody's going to pay you $9.3 million to put a piece of leather through an iron hoop, I'm going to say, hey, boy, go get that money. because you can come back and get your degree. Because I know that the schools do not care. And that was back when I was teaching. We're talking 98, 99, 2000. So we're talking 20 plus years ago. That was my mindset then, because I knew that they can go back and get their degree if they really wanted to. But if you're that good that somebody's going to throw that kind of money at you, go get it, because it's not promised to you, because you're not getting it while you're in school.
Hey, i.e. the G League.
Mm-hmm. I am an educator, and that is still my view on it. Go get that money.
Yep.
I.e. the G League. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, again, basketball is so fluid and liquid in how that they handle their sport. They can afford to create a G League like that, and I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I've seen a couple players that I know are going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna be watching this.
Yeah.
This is definitely different than the D League.
Yeah.
Definitely different.
Yes.
You know, but I the monetization issue, and I guess I don't understand why it was like pulling teeth to get the NCAA to even come to the table about the fact that these universities are making millions just on jersey sales, just on all of these when you can get bobbleheads of college students.
Right.
Bobbleheads, man.
Bobblehead.
Man, if I can't get 50 cents off my bobblehead per bobblehead, we got a problem.
Right.
You do not own my likeness. You know?
When you think about it, it's that same mindset that Kev was mentioning before with Major League Baseball and with NFL. You've got a lot of their ownership, the people that run the NCAA. It's a lot of old thinking, and they're still to that mindset. Even they're not even looking at the monetization. They're taking that out. They're just going, we're the amateur athletes. Okay, we can't stick by that term anymore.
Right.
I mean, I get it. I get it 100%. But we would be naive to think that all of these major schools do not give money to their star athletes. We have to be incredibly naive to think. I know,
because we keep seeing it over and over again.
Hey, I'll call up my squad, Carolina. I know that the boosters do it. I know they do. OU, Texas, UCLA, USC, Duke. Come on, Elton Brand running around in the Hummer his freshman year. Come on, man. His mom ain't got that kind of money. So why would they think that we're stupid? I think that's the problem that I have with it mostly. They say all this stuff, and we know this stuff is going on because these schools are paying athletes and their families. It's been going on for decades. SMU got shut down in the 70s. They got a death penalty. You got cats walking around with fur coats and Cadillacs, and I mean, come on, man. This has been going on for so.
I'm gonna throw out this.
The high school. It happens at the high school level too. I'm
gonna throw this out real quick. This is like the marijuana situation.
You're exactly right.
In that, you have the people that are making all the money, and they don't want the other people that are doing the work making the money. So then there's going to come a time when all of a sudden it switches, and now you're going to switch up, and now it's not going to be as even as a playing field as we even want it to be. So all of this right now, but we've got to run, guys, because we're coming up on our hour.
Yeah, Kev, you might want to stop down because
we'll pick this up. We'll pick it up. Derek's like, look, I got to go ahead and eat. It's time.
Listen, after Tari stepped on that third soapbox, I was like, man, let me go grab me a bite of this.
My bad, man. I'm sorry, fellas. My bad.
After he stepped on the third week, because he got down off the other two, and then he got back up, I was like, let me move around real quick.
My fault. I feel bad.
You said it was all good. I knew I couldn't make it better.
It's all good. It's all love.
All right, but look, it's a great conversation. Every Tuesday night now we are doing Chop It Up. We have these conversations. If you're watching, definitely appreciate you watching. Thank you for joining us. Share, like, follow. We'll do this every time. Topic changes, but we are having these conversations. So Appreciate everyone for your support and watching, and we will see you next Tuesday.